I chose Italo Calvino's novel Invisible Cities for my influence because I first read him when I was working in a bookstore here in San Francisco, and I was shelving a lot of books. And the title, If on a Winter's Night a Traveler, caught my eye. And I was like, that is the weirdest title ever, because it was so intriguing. It was like this fragment that like just invited you couldn't not open the book and read it because the title had to be finished somehow. And so I opened the book and I read these lines. You are about to begin reading Italo Calvino's new novel, If on a Winter's Night a Traveler. Relax, concentrate, dispel every other thought, let the world around you fade. And I just felt like, I just sort of felt relaxed. I was sort of like, he gave me permission to relax and to settle in and be swept away. And for a Chinese girl from a small town in Southern California, you know, who grew up with a very stoic Asian family, to be given permission to do anything was like very amazing. And so, you know, I was so uptight that just the idea that I could relax, and the author was telling me to relax, I was just like, okay, this is my guy. So I was transported into this magical Calvino world, and so I really wanted to write in that vein for this event. So this Invisible Cities is a series of tales told to Kubla Khan by the explorer Marco Polo after he goes traveling all over the world. So, you know, first of all, it's a bromance between the two of them. It's also a hybrid novel, it's fabulous short stories, it's an architectural travel guide, it's historical fantasy. I mean, it's a bazillion different books rolled into one, and that's why I love it. So I'm going to read just the beginning from Invisible Cities, and then I'll read the story that I wrote. Kubla Khan does not necessarily believe everything Marco Polo says when he describes the cities visited on his expeditions. But the Emperor of the Tartars does continue listening to the young Venetian with greater attention and curiosity than he shows another messenger or explorer of his. In the lives of emperors, there is a moment which follows pride in the boundless extension of the territories we have conquered, and the melancholy and relief of knowing we shall soon give up any thought of knowing and understanding them. There is a sense of emptiness that comes over us at evening, with the odor of the elephants after the rain and the sandalwood ashes growing cold in the braziers, a dizziness that makes rivers and mountains tremble on the fallow curves of the planispheres where they are portrayed, and rolls up one after the other. The dispatches announcing to us the collapse of the last enemy troops from defeat to defeat, and flakes the wax of the seals of obscure kings who beseech our army's protection, offering in exchange annual tributes of precious metals, tanned hides, and tortoiseshell. It is the desperate moment when we discover that this empire, which had seemed to us the sum of all wonders, is an endless, formless ruin, that corruption's gangrene has spread too far to be healed by our scepter, that the triumph over enemy sovereigns has made us the heirs of their long undoing. Only in Marco Polo's accounts was Kubla Khan able to discern, through the walls and the towers destined to crumble, the tracery of a pattern so subtle it could escape the termites gnawing. So I love that sense, that magical sense that from Calvino, that you can turn the world upside down, you can turn it inside out, you can make it new, even as it is very recognizable to you. And that really has helped me throughout my life and has definitely been a place in my writing. So here is my story, imaginatively titled Invisible City. In this place, a certain city, everyone passes away, as everyone in every city must, But here, everything a man or a woman creates or collects in their lifetime disappears the instant they die. Children begin their lives with everything, delicious and gentle sweetmeats, along with perfect dates and all fruits ripened by the warmth of the sun. The children grow, their limbs tendriling upwards toward the sky, their glowing countenances lit from a luster within. They have clothes that suit them perfectly, all soft folds and airy fabrics, no coarse cloth or sharp edges to chafe their tender skin. Books are ubiquitous, and stories flow freely from the rivers of visitors who circulate through the houses. A child only has to gaze and smile upon the closest adult in order to be delighted by tales of dancing wolves, questing princesses, and ghosts playing the lottery to choose their next bodies. Games of chase and merriment are commonplace, and it is not unusual to see a group of adults and children playing together, laughing and teasing one another. Red Rover, send Daniel right over, they sing as a child dashes from one line of friends to the next. But when they reach the age of 24, children leave their charmed homes and begin their lives again, as if they had come newly into the world. Reborn, they must build their own lives, choose what they want to do with their time, where they want to go, and who they want to be with as they fashion themselves afresh. They raise themselves again on the foundation of their childhoods, linking the stories they were told to the lives they are living. Each one must find in themselves the lost child, the brave hunter, the wicked wizard, the resourceful heroine, the greedy miser, the wise witch, the court jester, and the longing lover. They must find in themselves every character of every tale ever told. But like an iridescent slick of rain on the sidewalk, all their silks, cottons, and denims dissolve when they die. Paintings of oil and acrylic, carved wooden tables, brocaded chairs, lacquered boxes, gilded finials, and blown glass figurines, they all vanish. Money of any sort, paper and coin, stock and certificate, they all evaporate the moment a person's last exhalation disperses into the sky. Like the breath, one's worldly possessions become vapor. The family and friends remain, of course, though with only the remembrances of their loved ones to keep them company. Nothing that can be held or pointed to stays, save the stories people carry within their bodies, their very selves bearing the legacy of experience and recollection. No sparkly trinkets from long dead aunts, no keepsakes or letters, no pocket watches from great-grandfathers, no landed estates or buildings with plaques are passed down, no livestock, no crops, no ships, no deeds, no machinery to be fought or bickered over. At first, those left behind miss these things, of course, but after a while, these feelings fade and leave a haloed glow of wistfulness behind that is pleasurable in and of itself. Remember the old pianoforte that Mrs. G used to play at parties? One woman would comment to another. Oh yes, all the while drinking sherry from that beautiful cut crystal goblet, another would reply, both of them dabbing at their eyes and smiling. People would gather to tell these stories to each other, groups ranging from just a couple of people over cups of coffee to large parties of 100 or more, hoisting toasts and telling tales. Then one day, people discovered a curious thing. They could recover their loved ones' jewels and souvenirs, their collections of miniature spoons and old magazines. They were overjoyed. They could fondle and gaze. They could hoard and covet. After the initial surprise, the rapture of return, the constant accumulation proved to be untenable, no matter how diligently people applied themselves to the accrual of treasures and doohickeys. People found that they were suffocated by the weight of so many whatsits and thingamajigs, which began to interfere with the glowing images left on the inside of their eyelids. They had gotten so used to living and remembering that the things themselves ceased to hold on to their imaginations. So they kept the cinnamon memories and let the rest fall away. Once they were relieved of this burden of amassing, the dead gradually found that they could breathe again. Once they could breathe, the dead found they could speak in stories and songs and in games of leaves chasing each other in the wind. No longer did they have to bump into things in the middle of the night to be heard. No longer did they have to blow icy air into the room to be felt. Once the dead could speak again, and the living could hear them, no longer did the dead feel separated from the living. And once they no longer felt separated from the living, no longer did the dead feel truly dead.